Hi guys, welcome back to Logtechie Smartphone Beginner to Pro Web Design Series. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. Welcome back guys. Next, in this video we are going to look at margin and padding. Margin is an external space, is a space outside the tag, while padding is a space within the tag that is inside the tag. Okay, so we're going to see generally there's a padding on your site, there's a default padding and margin. In this course I have my HTML file and I have my CSS file which is set to empty. Okay, so let's go, and I have linked it here, and I have two div. I have one div with some text and I have the second div with some text. So for this div I'm going to give them a class. The first one I'm going to give it a class of boss1, and I'll give the second one a class of boss2. So now if you are to preview what you have here, you discover that there's a default margin and padding. To show you this well, I'm going to go to my style and quickly change the background of the two there. And for the second one, I'm going to give it a class, a style as well. Okay, you can see it very clearly now that there's a space at the top and at the left hand side and the right hand side. Okay, this is the default margin. This is the default margin and padding working there. Okay, for the padding, if you see in my head, in my paragraph, in my div tag, there you see that there's some space left before the text. Okay, that one is padding, and the other one you're seeing is the space to the space to the top and the space to the left and the right is the default margin. Now, if you don't want this default margin to affect your site, you can clear them, and that is the first thing to do. So back to our CSS, we're going to use a universal selectors, and that should be the first thing to make the arrangement okay. In using universal selectors, all you have to do is to grab your star, and for the star is universal selectors. Okay, so open up the parentheses, we can clear off all the margin, so we can see something like this. We can say all margins should be 0, and as well we can say all padding should be 0. So go down, all padding should be 0. Okay, now if you go back to your margin and preview, you can see that now there's no any external padding or margin. Everything has been aligned, and even though you go to desktop mode, that is how it will be. Going back to mobile, that's how to be, because now we have cleared off all the margin and padding. Okay, let's see how to apply margin and padding on our own. I'm going to grab the first boss and I'll give it a margin. I'll make this boss just a bit small, and I'll make it to be in the center. Okay, let's go back to our margin, to our style, and that is for boss1. Boss1 already have a background and we have it defined here, so I'm going to go down and give it a margin. Okay, we can give it a margin, and in terms of margin, you can use a general margin. Like if you want the margin to affect us, the element should be the same, you can use a general margin. Like if I say general margin of 50 pixel, this pixel is like a unit. Okay, we have different units, the same way we have a centimeter, inches, feet, and the rest. Okay, that's how we have it here. But in this course, I'll be using pixel, rem, and percentage. So I'll be going with pixel for now. So let's say this boss is 250 pixel. Sorry. I'm talking about margin. Let's give it a margin of 50 pixel. Back here, and if you preview, you see that it's going to have this margin to the top, to the right, to the bottom, and to the left. Okay, you see, and this is only applicable to that div only. It does not affect any other div. And if I go to desktop, you can see it's the same way it have affected there as well. All right, okay, this is not something that ideal. I just show you. If not, your margin should not be that big, but I'll just show you what margin can do. That is for general margin. But what if you want a margin to a specific area? All you have to do is to type margin to that area. I can say margin hyphen top or margin hyphen bottom. Like if I say margin hyphen bottom, we can give this margin to the bottom only, and I will define 10 pixel for it. Let's go back and preview our site, and as you can see, we have a margin of 10 pixel to the bottom. This is for mobile, and this is for desktop. You can see there for desktop as well. Okay, back to mobile. All right, this is for margin. Okay, for padding, I'm going to give a padding to the text we're having in there. And let me give this paragraph an ID. It can be class, but I'm going to give it an ID. I'll give it an ID of text. Okay, let's go to our style and style this text. All right, after the box one, I'm going to start that. So number sign text. Okay, open up the parentheses, and I would like to give it a padding there. So I can say padding 8 pixel, that is in px. Okay, so if we are to preview this, you see that we have a space inside there. So padding is a space within the tags, while margin is a space outside the tag. You can see that now we have large space within there. Like for the second one, as we have not done anything like that, you can see that the tests are all jam packs, and if we wanted to have the same thing, we can give it the same ID, and you see that it will pick an effect from there as well. So like here we can come and say ID test, because we have defined the test already. If we preview this, you see that it's going to have the same padding. So this is basic concept of margin and padding.